What's going on, tax professionals? On today's episode of Tax Practice Revolution, I'll be breaking down pricing. How do you charge? What do you charge for? What's going on in your practice today? Maybe you're not getting enough money, and today I'm going to show you how to go make more money and how you can use the new way of selling tax advisory. Now, before we begin, you're probably wondering who I am. My name is David A. Pettis, and over the last 16 years, I've built a very successful tax practice, and I've made over 8 figures in this industry. And over the last 18 months, I've been helping advisors just like you scale and grow their business. In fact, I helped 161 tax advisors make over $43,000 additional revenue per month by offering advisory, and I want to help you do the same. So today, let's talk about making more money. So you're probably wondering, David, how should I charge? You know, many of you have probably been doing what I used to do, which is called the old way, which is probably making money slowly. And I mean that because maybe for years you were like me, charging clients after you perform the service. Maybe for many years you said, I'll prove myself to them. I will do the work first, and then I will ask for the money. And you probably did that with tax returns, with bookkeeping, maybe even with payroll services. You bill after the work is done. And don't get me wrong, for many years I did that, and I did it okay. But it was always me wondering, when am I going to get paid? Are they going to pay the invoice? Is it sometime this week? Is it next month? And that left me in a pretty big bind. In most cases, I was struggling to get cash flow. In most cases, I was wondering when I was going to make money. In most cases, I was frustrated because the client would call and ask for something even though they hadn't paid the invoice. How many of you have been there? Say aye. See, I was there for so long. And now today, I've realized that maybe I was doing it the old way, or probably the wrong way, which is what we're trained to do as accountants, is to do it this way, which is just charge later. Push the ball down the court, wait for you to catch up, or wait for them to catch up. So today I want to break this habit. Hopefully you've not done it like this lately, but if you have, let's work through this together. Okay, cool. I already did that. All right, cool. So let's talk about the new way. So the new way to me really is not just about collecting money for doing no service yet or upfront. It is really about delivering value. And you see, most of us don't put ourselves in a valuable position. We usually put ourselves in the position of, well, lack of authority, or maybe we put ourselves in the position of need. And we do that just because inherently we want to prove what we're worth to our clients. And sometimes we may proposition how much they should pay, either in a letter of engagement or maybe an invoice or some sort of a proposal. And we say, hey, here you go. Here's my proposal. Are you okay with that? They say yes. Then they give you all their docs, and maybe you'll require a percentage down. Maybe you'll do something if you've gotten that far in your business model. But for the most part, you're not collecting everything up front. And so the old way really gets you stuck, right? Like we talked about already. But the new way says, I don't want to work for free anymore. I'm not going to touch your work. I'm not going to do anything until I know that you are committed. Now, that commitment is backed by money. It's not by a handshake. It's not by the signing of a letter. It's not by a promise to pay. It is literally tied to revenue. And if you think about revenue today, that's the lifeblood of any business, right? The point of a business is to generate revenue, but we have to do good for our customers. So how do we make them believe that we are more valuable? This is the equation we need to solve, right? The value equation. So let's go to the whiteboard and talk about value. So you have to think about value in the sense that we all have a value proposition for things that we purchase. And we typically think about it like this. There's money and there's value. Now, value can be defined as someone's belief of worth. What that means is we believe something is worth this much money. And the value equation is like a seesaw. And depending on where you are in the world, or where you are in your journey, will determine what you value. So for an example, when you don't have a lot of money, right, you value any food, specifically cheap food. And the more money you make, the cheaper food sounds probably not what you want, right? And so for an example, when the price of something has more leverage than the value, you will never buy that product. So for an example, if the price of a meal is $100 and you're like, wow, that's a lot of money, you would say, then it's not valuable to you. Does that make sense? So price versus value. Now the inverse of that is value and price. You see, this would be the value inverse. Now, what that really means is that when you believe something is really valuable and the price is lower than the value, you will buy it. And we see this with everything in life. When you go out shopping today, whatever you buy, you believe that it is valuable because you paid the price and you believe that the reward, whatever that may be, is greater than the price. The reward, the meal is worth it. You see what I'm saying? Like even if you went for a meal for $100 here, then over here, the value, right? The value of this, let's say it's $50. Now let me tell you what I mean by this. So you believed that the meal was worth $100 to you because you didn't have to cook, you didn't have to clean, it was delicious. You know, they sat you, they served you, they made sure your water was flowing or whatever your drinks are. You paid $100, right? Or sorry, the value of it is $100, but you only paid $50. That is called the value equation. And many times we miss this. And so what we believe is that when we charge, we should always just charge what something is worth. No, we want to charge based on our value. So how do we make people pay us in advance and get more money? Well, we just make things more valuable. See, right now, let's say you charge somebody $500 for a tax return, right? This is for a tax return. Here's the challenge with this, okay? Is that $500 is so loose-ended, right? If you charge $500, which most people don't. Most people charge half of that. Most tax professionals' average net fee is about $250. But let's say you get $500. What do they expect for that? Well, they expect a tax return and then year-round support. Why do they expect that? Because that's what they paid for, year-round support. What is year-round support? It means you answer my calls, you answer my text message, my direct messages, you help me fill out forms, you let me come into the office and ask for copies, you give me anything I need anytime I need it because you are now a slave to me for $500. Does that make sense? Because that's what happens, right? So how do we make this how do we get this either to go up? How do we increase the price to make it more valuable, or how do we lower the value, right? So we have to think about this. Like, so David, how do I make them pay me more for the same thing, or how do I get them to pay me less, but I do less? Because the whole point of business today is to do less and get paid more. So we just articulate our value different. So how do we articulate value? You see, what we're doing right now as tax professionals is offering a service. And that service could range from so many things, right? From bookkeeping to payroll to tax prep to advisory services, what I love doing. But we do all these things, and each one of them has a value proposition. But what we tend to do is a value, right? And then we say it's worth this much money, right? And let's say $500 back to the return, and this is the return. But what makes it worth $500? Like, truthfully, what makes it, how did you determine that price? Now, some of you may tell me, but based on forms, based on the software's calculations, based on refund, like you can make up all these reasons, but really, why do we charge $500? We charge $500 because of our expertise. That's really it, right? So if we're charging $500, they should be paying for our expertise. What else are they paying for? They're paying for support, right? They're paying for accuracy. They're paying for assistance in the event of an audit, right? You prepared it. I misspelled audit there. Okay, so you got support, accuracy, audit assistance. What else? What else are we giving them, right? We've got support year-round. Here we go. Should have put that. Support year-round. Accuracy of the return, which is your expertise. Assistance in the event of an audit. Maybe they're paying for copies if they ever need it. Maybe they're paying for, I don't know. Let's say they're just forms. They're going to need forms filled out when they buy a house, like house. Maybe things of that nature. Or maybe a retirement. How about retirement forms? How many of you do that, right? You probably do this stuff. So check it out. If this is the case, all of these things are given to you. So now I listed out everything I'm doing for my client. I'm charging $500. I'm going to file the return. I'm going to give you my expertise. I'm going to support you year round. I'm going to make sure it's accurately done. I'm going to help you in the event of an audit. I'm going to give you copies. I'm going to make sure that if you have forms that need to be filled out throughout the year, I'll help you do that. I'll help you if you do retirement. I'll help you do I'm going to do all this stuff for you. Now, if I list it out like that, if I just listed that out to you, do you think it sounds like it's more valuable than $500? And the answer is 100% yes. Like now you feel like, man, this guy's doing a lot for me. You see, the way that you charge is to articulate value. And many of us do so much work for free today. It's free work. We're just like, man, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to help you that. But you never articulate it, which means I don't ever write it out. I don't line item it. I don't identify it. I don't put a name to it, nor do I put a value to it. So check it out. What if I put values to this? So let's say year-round support. Let's say that is valuable. Let's say at least $100 a month, so $1,200. Let's say just to have accuracy and peace of mind and audit assistance, let's say that's another $1,000 a year. Let's say copies. Let's say you come by for 1 or 2 copies, and let's value those copies because it's taking my time at $100. And let's say that my forms, filling out forms and things, I don't know if you're ever going to need it, but just like insurance, I don't know if you're ever going to need insurance, but let's say that's going to be $500. And let's say that the retirement, let's say we're going to help you with retirement or any of those things, or let's just call it plus stuff. Let's say it's another $1,000. Now, I'm not making any of this up. I mean, truthfully, if it was $100 an hour and so on and so forth. So this is $1,200, $2,200, $2,300, $2,800, and $3,800. So the $3,800. Check it out. I just valued all of this at $3,800, and I'm charging $500. If I showed that to a client, do you think that they would like that? You think they'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm making all this money. I'm winning here. Like, I'm winning with you. This is exactly how we get through these challenges, right? This is exactly how we build value proposition for our clients. This is exactly what we do. So now that we have this, what do we mean here, David? What are we trying to accomplish? Look, I want you to build so much value that whatever price you charge, whatever you say, they are willing to pay. So how do we do that? We have to have a framework to get there. So the way we do it is we use this 3-step formula. Number 1, we do a consult. Now, the reason we do a consult is the consult's very similar to you going to a doctor, very similar to you going to somebody to ask for a diagnosis. And in this consult, what you're going to do is this is a call or a meeting. And in this meeting or call, what we're doing is we're meeting with the client and we're saying, hey, we could solve your problem. But really what we're doing here is qualifying them. Okay? We're qualifying them. Why? Because we want to know we have a problem they can solve. And what I'm looking for is, can the client afford to pay me? And do they have a problem big enough for me to solve? If I know those 2 things, then this call becomes a qualifier call, which then leads to what I call next, which is the assessment. Now, the assessment is where I get paid, baby. Why do I get paid here? Because now I qualified you. I put you in this position where I know I can make money because you got a problem I can solve. You have the money, you can pay me. And then I ask for money. This consultation approach allows me to get money up front from any client. This could be for bookkeeping. This could be for payroll. This could be for tax returns. This could be for anything. And what we're doing is we're saying dollar, dollar, dollar here. And usually I charge about $2,500 for this. Then, number three, we do implementation. You can use this for anything. If this is for the tax return, if this is for advisory, if this is for bookkeeping or anything, you're going to implement. So first you meet, you qualify, then you get the assessment, then you implement. And this implementation, this is where the big money is. Like if that was $2, this is $5 bills. Why? Because this is where we make the most money, guys. Helping the clients actually execute the strategy. This is the money position, okay? So imagine if I said, okay, let's meet. I qualify you, then I make some money. Then I do the work that gives me the consult, which is consult assessment, and then I do the implementation, which is more money. Now, I'll give you my value equation real quick. I'm going to show you something that I don't really get to show a lot about. What happened? My little plus thing went away. Oh, did I move it over here? Okay. So, oh, I see what I did. Put that around. All right. So here's what I do. Just give you my secret sauce. So what I do is when I meet with a client, I'm like, okay, so I want to do advisory. So I add advisory and I say, okay, first things first, I want to make sure I give you a dedicated person. How about you have a dedicated person or an advisor on my team? Okay? Then I want to implement the strategies. Then I want to meet quarterly meetings. Okay? Then I want to file your returns. Then, after I file your returns and I meet with you, then I just want to back with some audit assistance. Audit risk, or not risk. I guess I usually put it as, well, I just put audit assistance. Let's just use that. I can't remember the name of it on our packet. Okay, so I put this as my value stack, and then I'm saying, okay, so I'm going to give you a dedicated person throughout the year. We're going to implement the strategy. We're going to quarterly meet. We're going to file your returns, and I'm going to give you audit and guarantee, that representation guarantee. That's what it is, representation guarantee. What is this all worth? Typically, I'll value it like this. I'll put it over here so we can see it together. This is usually 5K. This is usually 5K. This is usually 10K, these meetings. This is usually 5K for returns. And this is usually 500. Now, why do I value it at this much? Look, I'm going to meet with you all year, and you can call me anytime you need me. I'm going to implement the strategies. I don't know how long that's going to take. I'm going to meet with you quarterly, $2,500 per assessment per quarter. I'm going to meet with you to file your returns, personal, business, and state, and I'm going to do this audit assistance and guarantee. So it's 5, 10, 20, 25, $27,500. This is my value proposition. Now, remember, back to the equation. When value is greater than price in the equation, you win. So guess what? My value here is $25,500. And guess what? Over here, what if I don't want to charge $27,500? What if I want to charge $10,000? Okay? So when I meet with a client now, check it out. You're going to get this. This is what you're going to love. When I meet with a client, I just go to the client and I say something like, look, I want to do all this for you. This is after I already did an assessment where they paid me to do it, $2,500. Now I'm going to say, okay, here's what I do. I just say, okay, look, here's the value proposition. I'm going to meet with you throughout the year, anytime you need me, a dedicated advisor. Then I'm going to implement any tax strategy that we recommend for you based on our findings, and as your situation changes, I'm going to adjust your plan every quarter because I know that your situation is going to change, and from time to time, that may mean your strategies change. In addition to that, since we get new strategies all the time, I'm going to implement those new strategies alongside with the current ones because I want to help you win. Then we're going to file your returns to showcase the results, which is the filing of your returns is where we see the big savings. Then I'm going to represent that all this stuff I'm going to do is correct. And if it's not or anything happens, don't worry, I got your back. That's the whole point of filing with a professional like me. All of this is valued at $27,500. But today, if you can take action, I will do it all for $10,000 throughout the year. Now, you and I both know that it is worth $27,500 based on all the work that I may have to do. Just like your insurance charges you, I don't know, $500 a month, $300 a month, whatever number they charge you that because they may have to cover a loss. We may have to do a lot of work. This is the way you value proposition. Now, why is this all important? Because I can charge a lesser amount based on the value that I bring, but here's really the big kicker. I want you to get this. Because I built this value ladder, this is what you call a value ladder, okay? Because I built this value ladder, guess what? I now can use this with every single client because guess what? Some people win and some people lose when you work with you. And I'm sorry. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose when people work with you, not them. They always win. The reason I say that is it's like, If you've ever gone to Walmart and looked at, let's call it, to buy some apples. When you go to Walmart to buy some apples, you'll go to the apple section or whatever, the produce. You'll look at the apples and you'll look at them and you'll say, oh, I want this one or I want this one. How do you pick an apple? You pick the perfect apple, right? But there's always going to be some bad ones. I mean, I actually have better analogies. I love avocados. Whenever I go buy avocados, I have to touch like 20 of them to find 2 that I like. Why? Because some are too hard, some are too soft, some are not good, you know? How many do you think they waste every single day? Like, how many avocados do you think they throw away? And it's probably a lot. Now, why is this important? See, Walmart and any other grocery chain prices the loss into the price of the purchase. So let's say they could sell them as low as 50 cents, but they know that only half of their batch is going to sell, so they got to price it $1 to make the same amount of money. Well, they don't know that though. Maybe one batch is better than the others. Maybe one batch you get 70%, one batch you get 63%, one batch you get 90% because people all want avocados and they all buy no matter what. Whatever the case may be, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But when you use value laddering and you use a value proposition like this is the new way. So now every client comes into your office, this is the way you get them into the system. And guess what? Some clients you'll do a lot, some clients you'll do a little, but guess what? You'll always make money because this is how you do value propositioning. This is my favorite way, the new way of charging clients, because this gives me a value proposition this great, a fee structure this low, but it gives me certainty that I'll get more money, and it allows me to make more money up front through an assessment, but it makes me more valuable to my clients. This is the new way of offering anything to any client because it productizes your service instead of making it all about, well, if we use 7 hours to meet with the client at $200 an hour, you know, that's what they're going to say. And I'm like, dude, that's not even scalable. It's not scalable. You don't want to be in the details. This is more important is get people through the door. Now, last key. If you implement a new sales model like this, the new way to do it, you now can predictably offer this to everyone, but more importantly, you don't have to do all of the engagements because now you know what you're going to offer instead of being like, oh, well, this client needs this client needs this client needs this client needs this. So now you can hire somebody on your team or bring somebody in your team into the sales process and they can help you. I just saved you tons of time. Like, dude, this is it. So this is the new way of selling versus the old way. Get paid up front, never work for free again, be more valuable than ever before. This is the strategy you need to execute if you want to make more money today than you've ever made before, but more importantly, if you want to be valued at the level you deserve to be valued. So this was today's session. If you like this kind of session, please like, subscribe, follow this thing. Come on, man. I need you because this is the tax practice revolution. This is a revolution. We are changing the way you do business forever because we know that today, more than ever, tax professionals are undervalued in the marketplace. There's no better time to stand out than don't fit in anymore. Stand out by offering high-level services to clients who will value you, who will pay you what you're worth, and give you the respect you deserve. This is the strategy you need to use in every strategy I share here on this channel. Thank you so much, guys. God bless and have a great day.